team, we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You got to look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're going to see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're going to see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's the team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals.
Welcome to the show. You're listening to Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com. It is April 24th, 2011, Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to anybody that's listening that is of the Christian denomination. If not, happy whatever you consider today's day to be. Happy whatever pagan holiday it was. Anyway, today's show, I'm going to dive right into a few things. And the first thing I want to talk about is just something that's been on my mind since I saw it early this morning. I was up till about 7 o'clock this morning, actually, and then I napped before I did JJ show and my show. But I was watching a friend of mine who's a fellow filmmaker, and he's an investigative reporter, an all-around awesome individual. His name's Dan Dix, and he created Press for Truth, which is out of Canada, and these guys are awesome. They go around, and the camera is their weapon. They capture what's really going on. And during the G20, his crew and him really stepped up to the plate and put their collective butts on the line to show people the truth of what was going on at the G20 in Canada in Toronto about a year ago. And it was just incredible. He got footage from other people, other patriots and, freedom lovers that went and videoed what was going on and got arrested and the crap kicked out of him for nothing. And him and Brian Law, another guy from Press for Truth, put together a movie. This is their second movie. The first one they did was called United We Fall. It was about the North American Union, which you can find on their website or You can watch both of them for free on YouTube, on their YouTube page, which is Weaving Spider, which is all one word. But I suggest that you guys go help out the filmmakers and just purchase the DVD. It's not expensive. You know, it helps them make future movies. But their newest one, Into the Fire, which is about the G20, is just incredible. And if you don't know what a police state looks like, you will see what a police state looks like. You will see how fast police and military are willing to violate your civil liberties and take away your freedoms that by law they're not allowed to do. You know, when people say, "Oh, but they're the authority," it doesn't matter. The Constitution is what is the law of the land. So it doesn't matter if, you know, Bob the street sweeper or the President of the United States violates it. It's still a violation of the Constitution. There's no difference just because of the person's, you know, level or their job or whatever. You know, the street sweeper shouldn't be sent to jail for life for violating someone's constitutional rights, and whereas the president gets away with it every day. That's wrong. You know, and cops, you know, government agents, none of these people have the authority to violate your constitutional rights. They think they do, so they'll grab you and physically assault you, and then later on they'll oh well, you know, you're going to do the ride, but you might not do the way the cops say it is, you might not do the time, but you're definitely going to take the ride. So they're going to arrest you. You might not go to jail and spend time, and you know, you might not be in jail forever, but you're going to do the ride. So it's just ridiculous, dude. It's completely ridiculous. You know, police officers used to be called peace officers back in the day, and I remember when I was a kid, I used to want to be a cop. And then when I got older, I realized I couldn't be a cop because by the time I was old enough to be a cop, by that time a lot of the decent cops were getting retired or leaving, and they were replacing them with the scumbags that they have now. So it's just very telling that what's happening to our society, that over the course of, you know, I'll say in the past like 35, 40 years, the police departments have really begun to be turn into military. And within the past 10 years, it's gotten worse. And that's why I covered the North Hollywood shootout a couple weeks ago. Because there's just so much information. There's so much information to be gleaned from that little incident alone. I mean, right after that, Clinton pushed for the assault weapons ban. You know, so just because two bad seeds, no one has the right to have, you know, guns and anything else. It's ridiculous. So for people to say something stupid like that, and for the citizens to accept those kind of draconian laws as, oh, well, for my safety, it's never for your safety, because do you feel any safer now that the cops are like the military? In the past 10 years, the incidents of police brutality have risen through the roof. And yet, we're not any safer. I don't feel any safer. In fact, I feel safer dealing with the citizens than I do dealing with police. I don't think police and government agents really care about the citizens, because I know that they've been trained to look at the citizens like terrorists. So, to me, I don't feel safe. Not that I'm a terrorist. I just don't feel safe because I feel that the police are out of control and that they think that they're above the law, and as do many other agencies. And I'm not saying every cop. There are some good ones, but unfortunately the bad ones are outweighing the good ones now. So I'm calling on all the good cops that are out there to step up to the plate and start to, you know, even if it's your commander, if it's someone higher up, I don't care. Put them in place and remind them of their oath that they took. They didn't take an oath to protect the New World Order or to protect some corporatocracy and some evil, you know, entities, whatever they may be. Okay, they took an oath to defend the Constitution and the citizens. So remind them of their oath. You know, introduce them to the Oath Keepers. Remind them what they're supposed to do. Cops, anybody that's listening, again, go look up Rome's Purge. Look what Hitler did to the brown shirts. You know, the brown shirts helped him round people up, and they helped, you know, I mean, and it wasn't just the Jews. It was, you know, political dissidents, everybody. Okay, they rounded up all these people, and when they were done, Hitler got rid of the brown shirts because they posed a threat to the army, and the army said, we're not going to fight, wars of aggression for you unless you get rid of the brown shirts. So you think that our military wouldn't do the same thing? You think that maybe we wouldn't have generals that say, hey, look, we'll fight wars for you, New World Order, but you got to get rid of this civilian little police group you got. History repeats itself over and over and over again. All right, guys, we're going to break. We're right back. I'm your host, Popeye. This is Down the Rabbit Hole on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Welcome back. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye, from FederalJack.com. It's Sunday, April 24th, and I just want to get, again, right back into what I was talking about. So the cops really they're out of control, and we need to educate them, because in the end, they're going to be the deciding factor of whether or not we can win this or not. Because if we get soldiers and cops, military, everybody on our side, and they see what's really going on, and they stand up for what's right and what's the right thing to do, then the New World Order can't pull off half the crap that they want to pull off to begin with. So we need to educate the police. We need to let them know what's going on. We need to tell them, hey, this is what's up. If they think you're nuts, because some of them will. Some of them are going to look at you like you're crazy. Remember, a lot of these newer cops, they don't hire cops with an IQ over 100 anymore because they don't want them to do any critical thinking on their own. And a lot of these cops are brainwashed. They give them education. Hey, citizens are terrorists. Citizens don't like the fact that we invaded, Iraq, so they got to be terrorists because they're not going along with what our president says is the right thing to do. And, since the supreme leader says we must do whatever the supreme leader says we must do, it's brainwashing. So, police, military, I suggest you guys go look up Rome's Purge and look what happened to the brown shirts. Hitler turned on them just as fast as these New World Order tools will turn on you. And if you think that these people are any different than Hitler, you're wrong. They're funded by the same people. Many of them are the same blood relations. Adolf Hitler was actually a blood relative of the Rothschild family. I suggest you go look it up. His father wasn't his biological father. Okay, his mother was impregnated by somebody in the Rothschild household because she was a chambermaid. And even though he was half-blooded, or because he wasn't from two Rothschilds, that blood lineage, they use that to their advantage. Look at Bill Clinton. His real last name should be Rockefeller. You'd be surprised who these people really are related to, blood lineage. And when you look, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that this middle class, everyday girl that happens to be marrying Prince William just so happens to be blood related to people like George W. Bush, but she's from no aristocratic background at all, right? Okay, so she's related to George Bush. She's related to all these other people that George Bush is in blood relation to. Just go look this stuff up. I mean, it's out there. The truth is out there. People just would rather not believe it. People would rather believe that everything's hunky-dory because things are just too damn scary when they find the truth out. But that's too bad. That's the way that the reality is. The truth is what it is. Information is neither good nor evil. It's what you do with that information that makes it good or evil. The truth is just truth, and information is just information. I can't help it that, we have a police state. I can't be blamed for that. I've tried to warn people. For years I've been warning people. At one point, I could be blamed for taking part in the police state, but it's been years since I woke up, and I actively do things to try to wake people up and make up for my past, not being as awake as I should have been, at least as I feel as I should have been earlier, and I woke up back in like 2006, and to me, there's people that woke up way earlier than that. But there seemed to be, around 2006, there seemed to be a huge mass awakening. And since then, it's just exponentially growing and growing and growing. And there are good cops out there. There are people in the military that are good, that are out there. We need you guys to help us educate your fellow police, your fellow military men. Because without you guys, we're going to lose the fight. If you guys turn against the citizens, that's it. And that's what these guys want. They've already got the FEMA camps. They want the New World Order wants a bloody revolution. They want citizens out in the street shooting it out with cops. They know the people are armed, so rather than try to prevent one, they'd rather push for one and make it inevitable. Jefferson, I think it was Jefferson that said, men who make peaceful revolution impossible make bloody revolution inevitable, or something like something close to that. I might be paraphrasing. I might have actually got it right. I'm not looking it up right now, but that's basically what he said. And so if they don't allow people to, if they don't allow you to, go out and protest, if they don't allow you to say, hey, I'm pissed off, and address your grievances with your government, which you're supposed to be allowed to do, then guess what happens? Eventually a bloody revolution is going to happen, because people are only going to put, especially the Americans, and they know this. They know that a lot of Americans, some Americans will just keep putting up with it, but a lot of Americans still have that spirit of resistance in them, and they know that people are just waiting. And all it's going to take is a spark, and things are going to go haywire. And that's not good, because that's what they want. And then they'll start rounding people up and putting them in prison camps, and then people will be getting shot on both sides, and it's not good. That's not going to win anything. That's just going to further give them, their reasoning for clamping down on people and taking away your civil liberties, and then telling people, oh, this is the reason I'm doing it. So it's pathetic. And people need to wake up. Introduce the local cops to Oath Keepers. Introduce your military that you might know to Oath Keepers, please, before it's too late. Go. If you don't know what Oath Keepers is, go look up the Oath Keepers. They are not a rogue organization. They are by far not a rogue organization. They are active duty police, military, firefighters, and retired military police and firefighters, and veterans. And these guys are just trying to say, hey, look, we're not going to break the Constitution and disarm people for no reason at all. The founder, Stuart Rhodes, is a constitutional genius. You should go look him up. He's not some fly-by-night schmuck. So I suggest everybody, go look him up, check him out, see who he is. Check into Oath Keepers, educate your friends, educate your family, educate any cops, police anybody educate them, because we need them on our side. We don't need to be enemies with them. The New World Order wants us to fight with the police. They want us to argue with each other. They want us to hate one another. Don't fall prey to that crap. That's all a setup. Don't fall prey to that at all. Okay? I know it's hard. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're getting, I've seen the past couple of days, I've seen videos of the police state really ramping up. There's one on YouTube where a guy gets arrested in his garage for videotaping from his garage in his own property someone being pulled over in the street that has nothing to do with him. And the cop just walked up on his property and said, I'm going to take your cell phone, and then reached for it and grabbed it and said, well, I'm going to arrest you because you won't give me your cell phone. I mean, that's for withholding evidence. That's ridiculous. That's unconstitutional. The cop should lose his job. I would love to interview the cop on my radio show and tell him you're a scumbag and a disgrace to your uniform and you should lose your badge. What gives you the right to think you can just walk up on someone's property? I'm a police officer. It doesn't matter. He's trespassing. Unless he was called to that residence and he thinks that someone's in danger on that residence, he's got no right to just walk up on that person's property. And he literally walked into the guy's garage and grabbed his phone. His friend, he was able to hand it off to his friend, who then took off out of the garage with it. That's ridiculous, And it was John F. Kennedy who said it. All right, thank you to Anonymous 99340 in my chat room. He's the one who just posted the actual quote from Kennedy about revolution. We're going to break, guys. Go check out the chat room. You can go to federaljack.com and just click on the chat room link, or go to dtrhfj.chatandgo.com. We'll be right back. We're going to pay the bills.
This Mary Magdalene giving birth to the children of Jesus, the evolution of the world, bloody and dramatic. Human beings killing monkeys to conquer the planet. The kingdoms of Africa and Mesopotamia. Machine gun your body with depleted uranium.
Well, welcome back. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye from federaljack.com. But quickly before I forget, I wanted to let you guys know, you can listen on your cell phone or regular house phone to the show via UpSnap. You call 704-772-7627 and enter the code 10016, and then you can listen to the show on your phone. Wherever you are, if you want to listen to it mobile, if you got to run around, or you can go to the website, and we have a couple smartphone apps and stuff that you can listen to the radio show as well. So anyway, getting back into the police state, moving on from what I was talking about, as I said, check out Into the Fire. Just go on YouTube and type in Into the Fire full film, and it should bring up Dan Dix's YouTube page, and you should see the link. Check it out. Please support these guys. There's links in inside the description to go to his page and purchase the DVD. Please help these guys out. Dan's an average, everyday Canadian citizen that just decided to stand up for people's rights and say this is wrong, and he needs your support. So please support the filmmakers. Go out and purchase one copy of the DVD. Usually these guys don't put copyright protection on it so that you can copy it and pass it out to other people. So support them by at least purchasing a copy and helping them out. But you can view the film on his YouTube page, Weaving Spider, and I promise you will not watch that film without your blood pressure is going to go up. Your anxiety levels are going to shoot through the roof. Dan did the world's best job I've seen in a long time of showing people exactly what a police state looks like and getting you to feel that you're literally there on the ground with these poor people that are getting pepper sprayed and beaten and tasered and kicked and hit for no reason. Just like at our G20 here in Pittsburgh, months before, they did the same thing to our people. But Dan was able to literally get on the ground, and because of all the video footage from all the people, the Canadian citizens who had the courage to stand up to this police state action, they did the right thing, and I commend all of you. There's so many of you. Dan listed them all in the credits of the film, but you guys, every one of you, hats off to you. I salute you. I respect you guys immensely. The work you did was incredible. You put your butts on the line. Some of you actually got beaten and have physical scars from your ordeal. And I appreciate everybody coming out and telling their stories. The stuff that you'll see, you'll notice that the citizens got together and banded together, and there were people waiting outside the detention area so that when people came out, they had food and water for them, free legal advice, free rides to wherever they had to go. That's how people got together. And the Canadian citizens themselves showed the world by their actions. The citizens of Canada that got together and did that stuff, you showed the world how people should act in any type of situation like that. The cops and the RCMP and the rest of you guys, you're all disgraceful and you should all be fired, including Officer Bubbles. And if you guys don't know who Officer Bubbles is, just go on YouTube and look up Officer Bubbles. He's a scumbag cop from Toronto that arrested a woman because she was blowing bubbles. Yes, blowing bubbles. Okay, go look it up. Just go on YouTube or Google Officer Bubbles. I'm sure it'll come up. There's a couple people in the chat room that are asking what video I'm talking about. The video I was talking about was from earlier. It's a movie called Into the Fire. check it out. It's a movie by Dan Dix and Press for Truth. You can see it on YouTube. Just type in Into the Fire full length, and you'll see they were able to show exactly what a police state looks like. And I promise you guys won't be able to watch this movie without feeling, a certain level of anxiety, and you're going to feel trepidation. You're going to feel like, oh my God, like it's almost uncomfortable to watch, but you have to watch it because it's reality. It's what's happening. And if you don't pay attention to it and you don't show other people what's going on, it's going to happen whether or not we have a chance at stopping it, I should say, if we stand up and fight. If you don't stand up and fight, it's going to happen. So to not face it and to go la 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 la, it doesn't exist, I don't see it, la 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 la, that enables the problem. That enables the police state. That enables people having their civil liberties violated. And just because it hasn't happened to you yet, don't think it won't. I mean, in the movie you see a guy, he gets his prosthetic leg torn off. And they're like, get up. And he's like, I can't walk without my leg. And they were like, fine. And his arm is kind of damaged, so he can't move his shoulder fully behind his, like he can't put his arm fully behind his back like maybe other people can. He's got a shoulder problem. And they said, move your arm. He said, I can't. It doesn't move that way. They didn't care. They just picked him up and dragged him backwards on his elbows. He was bleeding. And you know what his crime was? His crime was going out to lunch with his family and being in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what his crime was. Now, that's a police state. And this guy worked for the government. He worked for the government. He no longer can work. He's on disability, full disability, and he had to retire. He had to medically retire from his government job because of the ordeal of being locked in a cage and everything else, because this guy's an older gentleman. And that's how it affected him. So that's nice. You pick on crippled people and you take away their prosthetic leg. And they told him he couldn't have his prosthetic leg in jail because it could be used as a weapon. So for their own safety and for his safety, they took his prosthetic leg. Gee, what big men. I want to any Canadian cops that may hear this broadcast, you're all cowards. Anybody that was involved in that, you're cowards. If you're a good cop, because Dan Dix was able to catch a couple good cops, and you see some of them were very friendly, and to the ones that were respectful and friendly, kudos to you for doing your job and being professional. But for all the other ones that were running around grabbing people out of crowds and beating the crap out of people, you're all scumbags. I hope you can all I hope when you look in the mirror each morning, you guys are disgusted with your puke self. Anybody that serves a master like that and willingly attacks innocent civilians that are unarmed for nothing, and you'll see. Just go watch the movie Into the Fire. The G20 in Canada was very, very telling of how they feel and how they treat people, and you can see that it's not an American thing or not a European thing, because the G20 in the UK was the same way. The G20 in America was the same way. Look how they treat the citizens of every country. These are these big corporate oligarchs that say, hey, we own your country, not you. Screw you. We're in charge, not you. We're going to run your country. I mean, the cops were literally telling people that they were literally telling people this isn't Canada anymore, and there is no there's no Canada here anymore. There's no civil rights. This is martial law. That's pretty rough. So, all right, guys, I'm going to open up the phones. So anybody who wants to call in, the phone lines are now open. I unlocked the phone lines. So if you guys want to call in, we're going to be going to break in a few minutes. So anybody that does call in, you'll probably get carried over into the last segment of the first hour. And I also wanted to give you guys a heads up. Next week, make sure you tune in, especially from 6 to 7, because I have a special guest coming on. I plan on having more guests coming on in the future, and one of my special guests that's going to be coming on is none other than Gary Franchi, the guy responsible for RTR.org. He helped out launch Republic magazine. He's produced 3 films: Don't Tread on Me, Camp FEMA, and Camp FEMA 2. It's incredible. I suggest you guys pay attention. He's going to be on for a full hour next week promoting his stuff. So, all right, guys, we have a caller. I think it's Brian calling in. Let me see. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
Going good.
I heard that Right Haven was forced to drop their case against you, and your website is now back up and running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they dismissed it with prejudice, which means that they cannot ever go after me in that instance again.
Awesome. All right, we're going to break. Brian, hang out, because I want you to be able to tell people, the latest news about you and what's going on with your site when we come back from break. So everybody hang out. We're back in a few minutes. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye, from FederalJack.com.
And I say both, as I continue to blame the Knights Templar and the Hospitallers, the real reason New York lost their towers. Don't sit back or hesitate to react to the impact. Many taking a nap. In fact, they would fake an attack to make way for the Patriots.
Welcome back. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye, from FederalJack.com. I'm joined by Brian from USWGO.com. And Brian, before we went to break, you were talking about your case with Right Haven, that they were going after you. And for anybody that's a new listener, Brian was getting attacked by Right Haven over a simple photo that he had, just linked and posted in his blog. And they went after him because he was exposing the TSA groping and everything else. And they always try to make examples of people. And then once they found out Brian was disabled, they even went after him more hardcore, which pissed me off even further. And that's why Brian was already, he had always submitted articles from USWGO to me, but I gave him access as a reporter for Federal Jack. So now he does his, now he's got his site back and he's able to use his site again, but he still submits articles and stories for us at Federal Jack. So Brian, now that I've got any new listeners caught up to date, go ahead and update everybody on as to what's going on with the lawsuit and the finality of it and anything that's been going on with your website and any new investigations that you might have going on over there.
All right, thanks. Now, what's been going on with the case is that Right Haven is practically scared because I submitted an affidavit, which is like witness testimony. So they've realized that there was no way in heck they were going to win the case. So what they did was they first dismissed it without prejudice, which means they could come after me. Then at some point after the judge sort of slammed them, they decided to dismiss the case with prejudice. But my attorney was saying that he still wants to go after them because he wants to at least punish them for what they did to me and everything. So he wants to make them pay the attorney fees, and then the case will be completely over.
Good. They should be punished for what they did. They should be flogged publicly. They should have a bigger punishment than just paying your attorney's fees. But yeah, they should be punished in some way or another. I mean, going after you for doing nothing wrong, okay, fair use, it's a law, and for going after you and trying to intimidate you and then threatening you because once they found out you were disabled, that's just despicable, and they should be. I mean, honestly, I think we should bring public hanging back. If you want crime to stop, do public executions of people that are, and don't just execute people that are like some patsy. Bring one of these bankers down. Bring like the head of Goldman Sachs or one of these other scumbags down and hang them publicly, right on Wall Street, and then leave him hanging there from a yardarm. So with the word traitor hung around his neck on a big wooden board, just like they used to do with the pirates. Do the same thing. I guarantee you, people will be like, wow, the natives are getting restless. They should be held accountable for what they did to you. Right Haven should, at the very least, have to pay your legal fees. If not, more. And interestingly enough, I saw an article yesterday. I don't remember where it is, but I have it saved in one of my browsers. I have to find it. I have like 35 tabs open in Google Chrome alone. But Righthaven, a judge just threw out a whole bunch of suits against Righthaven for going after people just like you for doing the same crap. So, luckily we still have some good judges in this country. Apparently, I'm glad that they ruled in your favor, Brian. You have the site back up and everything. It's back up and running now. Yep, it is. And I saw you were getting, as soon as you had your site back up, you were getting attacked by hackers. So again, you must be right over target, because that's when you receive the most flack.
Yeah, I've definitely brought out a lot of questions, a lot of facts, and a lot of truths. Like, one of the things I was bringing out was about how HARP has a certain data has been erased. Like, if you look at April 7 through, I think it's the 12th, those days are gone on a certain magnetometer site. So why would certain magnetometer data be unavailable from certain days?
Yeah, and there's a couple people on YouTube that have written articles that have shown that a lot of times those days they correspond with like massive tornadoes and stuff that were taking place. And they show that they're, what they call HARP rings appearing over an area, and then within 48 hours there's massive tornadoes. And this one guy, Dutch, I think it's called Dutch Sense. Some people are like, oh, they badmouth him and say he's a wacko and this and that he's crazy. But I've mirrored two of his videos that I checked them out myself, and I found out that his information was 100% accurate. So to me, if people can make fun of and say, oh, they're not using HARP here or HARP there, but why wouldn't they use HARP? The HARP as we know it is older technology. They have more improved scalar technology now. HARP is an older version, so why wouldn't they use it to manipulate the weather around the United States? Obviously, they somehow keep Bohemian Grove from burning to the ground every year during wildfire season. There's not that many, there's not enough firefighters. That's a mouthful right there. To protect the entire thing and still fight the fires elsewhere. So they have to be using some sort of weather manipulation to be able to keep the forest around there all they would have to do is keep it humid and keep it moist, and the fire would naturally not be able to burn it down because it would burn around it. I mean, this is stuff that sounds crazy, but when you look into it, like, Bohemian Grove's been up since at least the 50s. I don't remember how far back it goes. I think it actually goes back to the 30s, but in fact, it does, because it went back. It's older than World War II, so I take that back. I think it goes back to like the 1930s, and it might even be older. But the stuff that goes on there, all these wildfires that happen year after year after year, it would be cheaper for them to just keep a damp rain cloud and rain clouds over the area during wildfire season. All these other cities in California burn down, but that thing's never burned down. I just find that suspect. And people can laugh and say, oh, you're a tinfoil hat wearer, but I suggest you go look up geoengineering, and you'll see that I'm not lying, and neither is Brian. HARP is real, scalar technology is real, weather modification is real. Google Ben Livingston. This guy was the first man to seed a cloud here in the United States back in the 60s, and he was able to, by seeding the cloud, it literally tore the hurricane apart, and they were able to stop a hurricane before it made landfall. So back in the late 60s, they had this technology that they were able to do it just by seeding the clouds with certain particulate matter. Now, can you imagine the stuff they have today? Go look up Nikola Tesla and his death ray. His death ray is what HARP is. I mean, you can do multiple things with scalar technology. You could use it as a weapon. You could control people's minds with it. It's really, really creepy technology. The government, oh, no, we're not, there's no weapon purpose for it. Let me tell you something. If the Air Force is involved with something, there's a weapons purpose for it. The military never gets involved with anything unless it can weaponize it and use it on the battlefield against a quote-unquote enemy. Remember that. So, Brian, what else have you found out about HAARP, like in your investigations? Anything else besides just the readings being cut off for like a week at a time?
Well, I also found out that I think I know the reason why people suspected the HAARP site was down. Because when you go to harp.alaska.edu, it won't connect to it. It says the server's not found. But when you add the www to it, it goes right straight to the site. So it's almost as if they're trying to throw people off so that they won't look into the magnetometer and do their own research. And so I know that when you have the www, we can get to it. So everyone needs to know that if they can't get to the HAARP's website, you need to have the www. And if you still can't get to the site, it could be something to do with the DNS being blocked, or it could be some other reason. Or it could be that they're trying to keep people from getting to the site. Who knows?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, and they, a lot of people think that, they wouldn't do that, or they do. The government does tons of shady things to cover things up. Case in point, guy on YouTube, somebody had emailed it to him, and he made a video about it, and he showed that the Army put in an order for a massive order for I think it was a little bit under 500,000 booklets to instruct people on how to operate a FEMA camp and for prisoners and stuff. And they literally put in this order like they needed it yesterday. So he did a video about it, and it came out like I think about 5 or 6 days ago. And as soon as he put the link and everything up, and as soon as I think the video got like 20,000 hits and went viral. And as soon as it had like 20,000 hits and you could click on the link, he shows you the link, he clicks on it, and he shows you what with a screen capture software, he shows you the page. And when you click on the same link, it's all edited now. It's all changed. So the government does that crap all the time. All right, guys, we're going to break. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be back in a few minutes. You're listening to Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com, and this is the Orion Talk Radio Network.
Killed my entire family, murdered and tortured, raped and pillaged. I was only 5 and I was the only surviving witness. My entire village burned to the ground. He wore a serpent in his crown. Happily committed murder with a frown. And an army of black hooded fiery skull generals and a sorcerer with a guy succeed, living the struggle. I know I'm alive when I bleed. From now on, it can never be the same as before. Cause the place that I'm from doesn't exist anymore. This is the point of no return.
Welcome back. This is Popeye. I'm your host. The show's called Down the Rabbit Hole. We're on from 5 to 7 every Sunday on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Please tune in, because every week I promise to bring you more and more information that is, very important. And it's, when I say very important, it's not, entertaining. I don't talk about Britney Spears' underwear or Paris Hilton or Lindsay Lohan. I talk about important things like mind control technology being used on the populace against our will and unknown to many people. Or I should say not only against our will, but without our consent. The military, the police state, everything. It's important that you pay attention and listen to the radio show. And not only mine, but you also should tune in from 3 to 5 to listen to Against the Wall with JJ Inc. I co-host with JJ. And from 7 to 9 on this radio network is John Preston. Tune into John Preston Show. You should tune into all the Orion Radio Network shows. Okay? Listen to everything the Orion Talk Radio Network has to offer. There's no censorship. We give you real news, very, very important information. And, we don't, none of the DJs, none of the hosts, whatever you want to call us, none of us get paid. We all do this voluntarily. We all give up our own free time to do this. The owner of the station pays for everything out of his pocket. You know, he puts up his free time. Jimmy X has his own show. So, you know, tune into the different hosts on the channel. You don't have to agree with everything everybody says, but, you know, at least give everybody a chance. You know, if you don't like them, then don't tune back in. If you like them, tune back in. All right. That being said, I want to get back in. Before I get back to Brian really quick, whoever we were having problems with our phone lines, but I think I've worked the kinks out here with Skype on my end. So the 678 caller who called in, if you want to call back and you want to call into the show, feel free. And I think I should be able to patch you in without a problem. All right, Brian, before we went to break, you were talking about you know, your investigations into HAARP. And during the break, you were telling me that a lot of these tornado outbreaks and stuff are like completely unprecedented. What's going on? So tell me what you've discovered and, you know, what you yourself have found out.
Well, it's just that whenever I was hearing on the news about all these tornado outbreaks, that my own state and the state next to me, Virginia, they were all declaring a state of emergency, and I had no idea that all these tornadoes were going around. And when I found out about that, it said it was I think they said it was record breaking. So I thought that was a little odd, because all of a sudden there's these record breaks of tornadoes, and now it's like everything's fine. There's not all these record breaking tornadoes. So I've checked the data on HAARP's website, on their it's a certain magnetometer. I think it's called the introduction magnetometer. I went on there and I took a look at the dates that were not censored, and I noticed that there was magnetic activity. So why would there be all this magnetic activity right around when there's the tornadoes? So, and I even had a page on my website about this. It's not a post, it's actually a page and everything, because I like to at least track all of the natural or unnatural disasters and compare them with the HAARP's data, because it just seems a little weird. Because anybody who's a scientist and knows about the magnetic things of the all right.
I know what you mean, the magnetosphere and the ionosphere. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Anybody that knows that stuff will see the information and realize that there's something going on. You know, anybody with half a brain and understands basic science.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, I know that HAARP bounces sound frequencies on the ionosphere. They bounce frequencies, and so wherever they bounce them to, it's hard to know what effects it could cause. And so whatever they're doing,
it hits the ionosphere and then it bounces off. That's how they can energize and cause earthquakes in certain parts of the world, because they can literally hit something and it, reflect it off the ionosphere and have it come back down and hit a certain part of the planet.
So it's kind of like a Star Wars grade weapon, because with these frequencies they could cause certain events to happen in places of the world. And so, I mean, I've messed with sound frequencies. I know how they can affect the body. Like, certain frequencies can help the body, and certain frequencies hurt the body. And when you think about it, if you think of the Earth as like a human body, and you're bouncing frequencies into the Earth or on the Earth, when you use sound frequencies, it can affect the Earth depending on what frequency you use and how high is the amplitude. Now, so
that's creepy. That's just knowing that the technology exists is creepy, and then knowing that these evil scumbags in power have the technology is even creepier. Hang on a sec, Brian. We got a caller. Caller, you're live.
Yes, sir. This is who you might know as Witness I.
Oh, what's up, dude?
Hey, how are you?
How's it going?
Oh, well, I guess as good as it could be.
What's the latest news you got? Because I always retweet a lot of the stuff that I follow you on Twitter, and you always tweet some really good stuff. In fact, a lot of times I end up finding good articles from your tweet references, and I end up using them on Federal Jack.
Well, awesome. That's great news. I dig very hard. I have for years. I had no idea what trouble we were in, but I can tell you for many, many, many years, we've had a lot of trouble with a bunch of damn liars, okay? That's one of the damn problems, is people are so willing to just lie. It's so easy. And I'm just being honest. That's been a big trouble for me in my life. I've never understood it. And if you can't face up to you can't face the truth, don't open your mouth. That's kind of the way I feel, you know?
Very true.
The big thing for me, I don't know if you've looked this up or not, but I have, and I'd like to again double check the time that the earthquake actually occurred. The first one over there, in Japan, that affected Fukushima.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 246?
It was like 2:46 or 2:47 in the afternoon. It was right before like 3 o'clock when the earthquake hit. I'd have to go back and check the records to see what the exact time was, but it was somewhere around there.
That's what I thought. Now, I'm assuming that I have free reign to say whatever I want. This is First Amendment rights we're talking about here.
Yeah, you could totally talk about HAARP and the Japan earthquake being talked about, being caused by HAARP. Go ahead.
Did you ever go and look up the Illuminati card game again?
Yeah, it's very creepy. The Illuminati card game made, for the listeners that don't know what the caller's talking about, he's talking about the Illuminati card game made by Steve Jackson Games back in the 90s. Go look it up. It's really creepy.
Yes, it is. And the weird thing, well, there's several weird things. Actually, the entire game, the premise is ridiculous, and I can't even imagine enjoying playing a game like that. But looking at the cards, you kind of get an insight into the mind's eye of these crazy globalist Bohemian Grovers. You get to see kind of how they think in a way. And what's odd, you see you see the Twin Towers on one of the cards, and the next card has got the Pentagon being hit. Then it's got, whatever they call, it's the multiple disaster card. I went online and looked at there was two names for this clock tower that's on this card. And I mean, it looks exactly the same. It looks like a drawn rendition of this WACO, WAKO clock tower. There's also another name, it starts with a G. I can't remember. WACO name is easy. I can't remember the name of the clock tower that's in Tokyo that's very famous. But if you look on the card and you look at the time that's on that clock, it freaks me out, okay? I had a hunch. I just had this feeling that I needed to...
Let me guess, it says 9/11.
Well, no. It was 246, 247.
Oh, that's even creepier.
Yeah, and it shows people, it's a rendition of an Oriental kind of looking group of people running away from this tower at that time. I didn't know if you had a chance to check that out or not. I didn't know if you got that on any of my posts. But I haven't posted it yet.
I appreciate you calling in and telling me about it. We're going to break. Guys, we'll be right back. You're listening to Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye, from FederalJack.com. We're going to pay the bills. We'll be right back. This is the Orion Talk Radio Network. Welcome back. This is Sunday, April 24th, 2011. You're listening to Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye, from FederalJack.com. And I've got two guests on with me right now. Before we went to break, we were discussing the Japanese earthquake and the Illuminati card game that Steve Jackson put out. Steve Jackson Games put out back in the 90s. And Witness I was telling everybody about his theory and stuff, what was going on. So go ahead, Witness, getting right back into it. What were you saying about Japan and everything else in the Illuminati card game?
Well, what was really crazy about it was starting to learn the nature of the beast that we're dealing with, and I get some clues here and there. And I believe in the Father 100%, our Father, and that's where I come from, and that's what I will always believe in. And he gives me some insight. That's all I can say. And so I had this hunch. I was like, wait a minute. When this happened, I'd heard about the Illuminati card game, and I was like, let me just go check it out and see. Lo and behold, there's a rendition. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's an artist's rendition. And then it looks exactly like I say, there's two names, but Waco, W-A-K-O, clock tower, and then they use another name that I can't really remember right now. It's more foreign, to my ears and eyes. But the thing is, the clock tower that's falling towards the running away, again, a rendition of an Oriental-looking people running away from it. It says 246, 247 on the clock tower that's falling. And what really gave me a lot more of a clue in on what was going on here was watching Alex Jones do his Bohemian Grove. I tell you what, when I realized and actually listened to the words that freak was saying, he's pretending like he's some kind of preacher or something. The man ain't nothing. And but when I heard those words come out of his mouth, I realized that was for real. I mean, they weren't kidding around. That's not just a play. This is not just a joke. They really believe in all that crap. They think they can go and cremate their cares out there in their little toy land and then bring it out here into our world. Well, I mean, they're sadly mistaken. But that kind of gave me a clue into more, and I guess that was a kind of a clue for me. And somehow I thought I needed to check the time on the clock and then the time that the earthquake happened. And lo and behold, I mean, how many different spots on a clock, on a 12-hour clock, are there? What is it? 60 times 12?
It's like the Simpsons clock, or was it a clock? Or no, it was a picture, I think, with like a comic book. And in the Simpsons, it was the same thing. It said 9/11. And then if you look in the movie The Matrix, Neo is signing a piece of paper in the beginning of the movie. And when you look down at the date on the date of the piece of paper he's signing, it's September 11th, 2001. So, they do stuff like that. That's called synchronicity, and it's because they do that stuff on purpose. These guys believe in this stuff. These guys believe, whether or not we believe in it, whether or not everybody has their own personal religious beliefs and everything, and I support everybody's freedom of religion and freedom of beliefs, because that's what would make a world great, is for for people to tolerate everybody. Okay, but I do want to know. I want to get into the Vatican to find out the truth. And the only way we'll ever find out the truth about anything with religion is if we raid the Vatican archives.
I do too, because this is the thing. I don't believe and I don't go for religion. I have my own relationship, and it's up to me. It's not up to some of the men to try and tell me what I need to think and how I need to act.
Why should you have to talk through somebody else to the whatever creative force there, for lack of a better term, God, or whatever you want to call it? Why should you have to pay somebody? Because they always want money from you. So why should you have to give them money and kiss their butt to be able to talk to God? He's any better?
I'm sorry?
Like the priests are any better than you? You know what I'm saying?
That's not the case at all. They're not ordained by God. They're ordained by men. Go to these classes, and then they get this piece of paper, and I'm sorry, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, and when 95% of them are caught being pedophiles, I really don't. Yeah. I don't take anything you say to be useful and truthful.
Absolutely, me either. Every bit of it to me at that point's a lie. I mean, maybe there's some stuff you're reading in that Bible that's real, but anything.
Well, the Bible
that
itself has been edited, so like you can't really believe the King James version because they, at the Council of Nicaea, they, Constantine pretty much decided that there were certain things that weren't going to be in the Bible, and that was it.
I understand that point of view for sure, because there are things that are contradictory and some things and mysteries that I've run across that I've not understood. But I can give you a real quick background, and I'll let your other caller, who I absolutely immensely respect. But just a real quick background. I had a very unique. I'd assume it to be unique because I don't hear people talking about these types of things, but a unique experience as a child. And it was real, and I will never deny it. And, he spoke to me, and he told me to read the New Testament. And now I know why, because Jesus' words were the ones that a child could understand, and were also very pure and loving. And so when he told me that, I'm never going back on it. I know for a fact that's what he did. And it changed my life. He saved me. My grandfather had just committed suicide, and, at 7 years old, I was contemplating it myself. And, he was my dad in my life. So, it was very personal, and it was the worst thing that ever happened in my life. And at the same time, when he came in and saved me, it was the best thing. And it was not some man telling me anything. It was me and him.
Well, it's good that you were able to find, everybody has to, I don't discriminate against anybody for their own beliefs, and I wouldn't consider you like religious. I would actually consider you more of a spiritual person, because religious itself is like, this and that, and that's it. They're very dogmatic, whereas spiritual people, I find, are usually very open-minded to learn new things. They accept the fact that there is a higher force, obviously, that created us. We just don't know what it is, and they realize that they've pretty much been lied to about it. So it's good that people are like that. That's why I wouldn't classify you as a religious person. I would classify you more as a spiritual person.
Absolutely, and I can say how much too I respect what Buddhism is about, and obtaining that level of purity. And it's not that I'm a Buddhist, but I appreciate that, and that is a large part of everything that I'm here to do, is to grow and slough off the crap.
Well, see, religion wouldn't be a bad thing if you took all the good stuff from all the religions and put it together, all these beliefs, and put it together and lived by that. That wouldn't be a bad thing. The problem is a lot of religions are used as, well, all organized religion is used as a mind prison, to keep people, if you don't – when I was a kid, I used to get in this argument with people, and I've gotten into this argument with my father about this, where I'll say, look, I don't understand how God could give you free will and then make you burn in hell forever, eternally, because you exercise your free will. That doesn't make sense to me. That's like, take the carrot, you take the carrot. Bad boy, you smack across the face.
We're given choices as we go along. Now, he's not just going to give us free will so that we will fall down in a hole. We're given choices, and we make choices every moment of every day. And that's really is.
I just don't believe in an eternally pissed off God. That's my personal point of view. All right, guys, we're going to break. We'll be right back. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com.
Continue to blame the Knights Templar and the Hospitallers, the real reason New York lost their towers. Don't sit back or hesitate to react to the impact. Many taking a nap. In fact, they would fake an attack.
Welcome back, guys. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com. We're touching on very taboo subjects today with Brian from USWGO and Witness Eye. With the three of us here are having a rather in-depth conversation about religious views and stuff, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, and they won't bring it up. And my show is about talking about things that other people are afraid to discuss. So I'm not afraid to discuss what I feel about religion. I'm not afraid to say I'm proud. Look, I believe that people. By the way, if anybody hears that snoring in the background, that's my little Truth or Dog monster. You guys, anybody that's ever seen her on my videos knows her. She's a little 10-pound Shih Tzu, and she has a snoring problem because she's got a very short little snout. She happens to be riding shotgun with me today on my lap. So if you guys, if at all during the broadcast you guys have heard a snore in the background, that's her. And the reason I had to say that is because she's been very loud the past couple of minutes, so I figured somebody's probably heard her by now. I didn't want anybody to think I was making weird noises in the background, so I'm all about transparency, people. I'm all about transparency. But anyway, getting back into religion, we were talking during the break, and we were the three of us were talking how religion has pretty much been used as a mind prison around the world. And Saul in the chat room said it best. He's talking about Saul, by the way, guys, has his own radio show on the Orion Radio Network. Listen to it. Anyway, Saul made a good point. The whole Gaia religion, and they've made the whole Earth Day thing is the newest religion, and all these people that didn't have all these people that denounced religion because they're pissed off, they attack Christianity as a whole, and they use the Catholic Church to make Christianity look bad, and
that makes it easy.
Yeah, of course, and they make it easy. I mean, they don't even have to try. because the Catholic Church is perverted and evil anyway. I mean, if anybody understood that the Pope walks around with a satanic symbol in his hand, that cross he walks around, it's got two crosses on it. It's called a double cross. That's a bent wooden double cross. It's a satanic symbol. Okay, why does the Pope wear the fish head? That fish head hat that he wears, that's symbolic of Nimrod, the ruler of Babylon. Why the hell is the Catholic Pope wearing a fish head depicting Nimrod? I wonder. People should go look it up. Okay? All religions stem from Babylon. They knew about our Creator, right? That's the way I look at it, right, guys? Like, they knew the truth, and these same elites that were in control in Babylon, or the bloodlines, are in control today.
Yeah. What's crazy to me, if you read the Bible and you read people's, you read the real word, you're going to find you're not supposed to be trying to dress up all pretty and everything. You're not looking for the best seat at the table. It's not about that. Not at all about that. It's about your relationship with Him. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with trying to look fancy and have the best seat at the table. That's Satan. That's the way he is. It's not, that's not the way we should be.
No, dude. And you know what? An Anon9340 just posted in the chat room. And guys, again, the chat room link, I know that the show's going to be over in about 25 minutes, but for future reference, it's dtrhfj.chatandgo.com. Or you can just go to Federal Jack, and there's right on the top, it says chat room. You just click on the link, and it opens up a page with the chat room on it. But Anon brought up a good point. He's quoting George Carlin, I believe, if I'm correct. And he says basically this is the kind of stuff you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude, talking about God, if God is really as they say he is. This is the kind of stuff you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude. And just between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago. So, I mean, he's right. There's no way that when it's so absurd. It's like looking at the official religion story is like looking at the official government story of anything that's ever happened. It's always absurd and out of this world. And only doing research on your own and doing, through alternative sources do you find any shred of any truth. And I don't pretend to know anything compared to what's hidden in those archives. Like we were talking about during the break, we need to get into the Vatican archives. Like Brian, what kind of stuff do you think is hidden in the Vatican archives?
Well, I definitely think that there is a lot of stuff hidden in the archives. Of course, people have argued with me that it's open to anyone can go there, but I know there's a certain amount of the archives they let scholars or people look at, but I have a feeling that's not all the stuff they're showing. I mean, the stuff that they let people go to is heavily vetted and controlled, and I have a feeling that there's probably knowledge that's being kept under lock and key, where they won't let you get to, because there's always a lot of good knowledge out there. And also, I think that, like, whenever people were saying that the scrolls from the Library of Alexandria burned, I have a feeling that the scrolls did not just be destroyed. That maybe somebody came in there, got the scrolls, and hid it somewhere. I think that knowledge is there's certain amount of knowledge that some certain kinds of people want to keep hidden, and they're not given to the general public.
Without a doubt. Witness, what do you think? What do you think's in there? I mean, you know, do you have any thoughts on particular things that you think are in there?
I'll definitely tell you that there are some things that are missing, because I know Jesus, I know God, and there's some things that don't quite jive, and, you know, I don't profess to say that, you know, that there's any miswritings. I can't say that, because it could be that I'm misinterpreting certain parts, okay? Because that's what I use, and I don't go with supplements, ever. Just the word I read, but I do ask for the Holy Spirit to interpret those things for me. And I've done that for years and years since I was 7. I'm 39 now, okay? And I love him very deeply. My thing is, because I know him, he is the Father. He loves us like better than the best father in the world, in the flesh, could ever be. He is all of those things. And for anything to instill a fear into anyone that that is true to digging for him, there's no reason to fear, except for I do fear him. When he comes, it's going to be scary. I mean, I'm just saying, it will be. It'll be scary to every living piece of flesh on this earth. But I don't fear anything but him, and I don't fear him except for knowing how scary it's going to be when he first gets here, to take back what's his. And that's what's going on here. If you look at the GMOs, and you look at all this geoengineering, you look at Hart. See, this is Satan tempting God and telling him, trying to show everybody that he is God. That's what this is. We're going through right now.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know what because a lot of people, you know, they say Satan's a demon or a fallen angel or whatever. Or some people believe in, like, I've researched and I've talked about the interdimensional beings, which even science is admitting that there's a fourth dimension. So who the hell knows what the evil is? All I know is it does exist. I know without a doubt that evil exists. And when New Age morons try to tell me that evil doesn't exist, I tell them, I'm like, dude, I've seen it with my own eyes. So to tell me that there is no evil, there just is, that's retarded. Okay, because I've seen it with my own eyes. Whether or not I believe it's Satan or anything else or whatever any other religious belief believes, whatever they call their evil energy. You know what? I respect everybody's religious viewpoint, because as long as you don't get so caught up to where you're willing to kill each other for stupid things, then I have to argue with you about, you know what I mean? Like, and there's fanatics in every religion. Like, you got this moron, this pastor, Terry Jones, that keeps burning the Quran. And he does it.
Do that, man. Somebody paying his ass to do that.
Oh, of course. He's totally no. He's to me. That's a CIA op. That's what that is. That's a complete CIA op run so that they can say, look, we need to clamp down on free speech, because this guy is burning Qurans and causing people to, you know, get killed over in you know, UN workers over in Pakistan and stuff, and we can't have that. So your free speech is pissing somebody off up in another country. So you know, in a one world global government, you don't have free speech anymore because you might offend someone. So you have to shut your mouth. I mean, and Lindsey Graham jumped all over it. He was all over the networks telling everybody that we should, you know, look, you know, free speech is a great thing, but we're at war, and, you know, right now he's a globalist, dude. All right, guys, we're going to break. We'll be right back. We're back in like 3 minutes. You're listening to Down the Rabbit Hole. Your host, Popeye.
Hey, brother.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. This is our final segment for this Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 24th, 2011. Guys, don't forget, next week, tune in, especially tune in and listen to the whole show, but make sure you listen between 6 and 7 because I'm going to be interviewing Gary Franchi from RTR and the Lone Lantern Society. Again, he produced Camp FEMA 2, Don't Tread on Me. He's an incredible filmmaker, good friend of mine, just an all-around awesome human being, and you guys are going to get the pleasure of talking, or at least listening to me talk to him for an hour next week. I won't be taking phone calls while he's on unless I have some time in the end to kill. Then I might, but not, there's a 99% chance I won't be taking phone calls while he's on, so I can let him get out as much information and stuff and, let him introduce himself to the listeners that don't know him as much as he can. So, all right, with that being said, we've had a pretty interesting show so far, and I've been talking with Brian and Witness Eye about, pretty much we got into religion and everything, which is very, very taboo subject, but before we went to break, I was pretty much just saying, look, that no matter what people's religious views are, you have to drop the fear aspect of it. You have to drop the being afraid of your God, because as far as I'm concerned, no God, and I've always said this since the time I was a little kid, I don't believe and buy into the whole pissed off God theory. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make sense that he would give you, free will and free thought and everything else and then punish you eternally in damnation for it. That's retarded. That means that God is like a 7-year-old kid burning ants with a magnifying glass. Come on.
That he is not.
Exactly. So, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that he would create this huge universe, all these planets. And, that's why it irritates me when people go, well, if you believe in aliens, you can't believe in God. That's not true. So I believe in a higher energy. I think that he made them too. I don't believe that they're gods. I just wonder what the hell they are, And for anybody to think that humans are the only intelligent life in this universe, that's highly arrogant. Very arrogant. Because first of all, I've said this once, I'll say it again, dude. If we're the top of the line, we're screwed. You know what I'm saying? Really? That's the best this all-seeing, all-power could do is this? You know what I'm saying?
I've seen videos where NASA was taking video and they were circling the Earth, orbiting the Earth. And I've seen little things that look like shrimp. And they're moving around like little shrimps, okay? So, who knows what's out there? But I'm focused, on what's in me. And I also know that, with Project Bluebeam, I know what they're planning on doing. They're trying to convince people that aliens have come or that the saviors, of different religions have come. See, they're trying to trick, and Satan can only trick you before God comes back. That's it. It's over after that. He can't trick you no more. But it's going to be the first one that we see. Look, we won't even have to have anybody tell us, hey, come and look, he's over here. Because, by gosh, you can now be resting assured that is not him.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, if Jesus or God, if according to the Christian religion, we'll use that as an example, if Jesus Christ did come back, I'm going to tell you what, you'd know it. Okay?
We'd know it.
You'll know if he's really going to come back, if the Christians have it right, and they, I honestly don't think that there's going to be an end of the world. I think after 2012 there's going to be a spiritual and mental awakening to what's really going on, and I believe that people are going to start to see these pricks that are in power for what they really are. And, I believe it's going to be much harder for them to hide behind things. And that's why they're pushing for this ever omnipresent police state that they're trying to build and push on everybody, because they're scared. They're scared of what's going to happen when everybody realizes what's really going on. And, it doesn't matter what you believe in religion-wise. When your religions are being used to control you, when your beliefs are being used to control you and tell you what to do, that's a prison. So I'm not trying to make fun of anybody for believing in anything, anybody that's listening, but seriously, check your religious beliefs. Your God should not be punishing you. If you're Muslim, Allah shouldn't punish you for, speaking your mind. If you're Buddhist, Buddha shouldn't punish you. If you're Christian, Jesus and God, or whatever you want to call your God, shouldn't punish you. I don't buy into the whole Catholic version of things that you're going to burn in hell. That's crazy to me. You can let you can't swear. You can't swear. You can't do anything, and you'll burn in hell. But the pastor can molest you, and that's okay. So.
Oh yeah, no. He's in deeper shit than most anybody else on the planet.
Exactly. That's why these people are so evil. It's disgusting. The people that pretend to be your saviors. That's why, again, I don't like organized religion, because the people at the very top have perverted whatever good that it might have been intended. That if you even want to think about it that way and say, it could have done good, and it does do good. Whatever good it does tenfold in damage, because the same people that they believe, I must follow my my pastor or my whatever, my reverend. A lot of these guys, there are guys out there that are trying to wake people up and say, look, this new world order, this stuff is real, and these people are trying to, if they come for you and they tell you that we want your guns, it's okay. You say no, but there's a lot of people that, look, hey, Romans 13, God created, the government was created by God, so we must listen to the government. That's insane. That's insane.
When you look at our government, what is the rule of land? That's the Constitution and Bill of Rights. That's us. That's not some other group of men. That's us here. And I'd hate to be in another area of the world and have to deal with that, idea. But I have to say, it can't be true, because he wants us to live in truth and love each other. He does not want us to go around killing each other. And all the New World Order is doing right now is trying to keep us all divided like they have for freaking years. All they want to do, anybody that's brown, if you're white, don't like them. It's the Muslims and all that crap. That's
exactly.
cool.
It's to keep us divided. It's to keep us so that – and I'm going to tell you what. I have – some of my closest friends are of complete different ethnic backgrounds than I am. My wife was born on an island. She grew up on an island. To me – I don't agree with the whole thing of race and everything. That goes back to these psychos being obsessed with their blood lineage and having the ability and all these family members and always keeping somebody the bloodline never too far off and everything. That's their obsession. That's not my obsession. If you're a decent human being, I don't care what country you're from. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. As long as you're not oppressive, as long as you don't try to push your religious beliefs on other people, as long as you're not a dick, I don't care. I'm fully on board. As long as you're a decent human being, that's fine. But there are people that are evil. There are people that are bad people. And unfortunately, that's a reality we have to deal with. And
they allow themselves to be through their choices. They're constantly
exactly. If your mind is controlled, science and religion has finally come together and admitted that we pretty much create our own reality. That's what quantum physics has admitted. So if we create our own reality and you have somebody controlling your free will, then your reality really isn't your reality, is it? Your reality is manufactured by somebody else. You're giving your free will up to somebody else. So maybe the crappy situation that you've been in for 20 years really isn't. That's not how your life is supposed to be. And maybe if you just changed a little bit, maybe if you just got off the TV mind control crap. Stop listening to, BS pop music and crap like that, and pay attention and realize that the rabbit hole is deep, dark, and scary. Again, a book I'm going to tell everybody to go read is The Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. It's this woman's testimony, and that'll lead you to other people's testimonials. Another one is Thanks for the Memories. Those two books alone, you're going to learn a lot about a lot of famous people, especially the country music industry. And you're going to learn how very deeply involved a lot of country music stars are in ferreting drugs and mind-controlled slaves. i.e. presidential models. You know, a lot of these girls these young pop stars that you see on TV, they always act weird and strange. A lot of them are presidential models. In fact, I'm willing to bet that at one point or another, Lady Gaga herself has been pimped out to people, to high heads of state from not only in the United States government to other governments as well all over the world. And I say that because I know that she's a product of Project Monarch. So again, you know, go check out MK Ultra, go check out Project Monarch, go check out there was one more. God, I can't remember the name of it now. It dealt with mind controlled mercs. Like, just during your MK Ultra research, there's so much information I have flown around in my head, it's ridiculous. But again, The Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien, and check out Project Monarch. It'll stick in you. Okay, guys, the end of the show. Happy Easter. Till next week, I'm Popeye. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. Stay tuned. John Preston's going to be on next. Question 46 from 7 to 9.
I was only 5 and I was the only surviving witness. My entire village burned to the ground. He wore a serpent in his crown. Happily committed murder with a frown and an army of black hooded